News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Beres.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Beres here with you on a Monday, and we've got a good show on tap for you. You know, it's that time of year where you start thinking about, taxes. All right, yeah, I know that's really not till April, but many of you, I know, file a little bit early to get your tax returns early, and some of you, either way, want to start planning. Now, many of you may have already been addressing this throughout the past year, depending on whether or not you're self-employed or the like. But there are a lot of questions. There are some changes. There are things that have come up. And this is your chance to ask any question you may have about taxes and what you need to deal with this next year of our wonderful guest with us, who's joining us now, the one and only Doc Friday. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. It's always a pleasure having you on. I haven't seen you in a while, but I miss you. I like having you on, not just because you know taxes, but just because you're a good egg. And she does know her stuff, all right? I think she does a great job. And, you know, we'll open up the phone lines in a moment, 737-7587. If you're getting to the point now where you're starting to think about taxes or just have questions about maybe things that have changed, where do you want to start? It's a new year. Anything significant you want to touch on?
Well, I think there's two things. We're looking at 17, and today's a big day because if you're an e-filer, today the e-file lines or whatever you want to say, you can start filing tax returns. Right. So today's a big day. So if you've been waiting, or because from today for about 21 days out is when you'll start looking for refunds, right? So if people have been filing since January 2nd, apparently some people will get in that early, but they've all been in a holding. Nothing's moved until today. So now the government's going to get hit hard, and they say within 21 days those refunds should be out. But
no delay, by the way, coming from that very brief government shutdown. Some thought if that dragged on, that could have slowed down
this. And specifically, one of the things they said was refunds would have been froze.
Okay, right.
So, you know, we weren't going to see them. But since you're right, it didn't hold long enough. Now we have a little concern because we only had a little Band-Aid kind of put out there because it's only to what, February?
That's right. It's like 2 weeks.
8th or something like that. Now, if another shutdown happens because they aren't able to get going, keep in mind that could delay the refunds. So
that's a great point. I mean, I almost forgot about that and thinking we're still not out of the woods yet. So,
I mean, you know, we are good for right now, but just keep in mind all of this. And whenever the government shuts down, even for a day, because our liaison from the IRS specifically emailed out that the day and a half or 2 days, the day before, I will not be in the office. Well, lots of divisions, including taxation, was closed down unless it was phone lines. So if you have to go back to work, sometimes you get behind, right? Because you have to do a catch. I mean, I know when you're sick or you're out of the office for a weekend or something and you get back in there and you've got 250 emails you've got to go through and all this. So they might be working a little slower because of there may have been a slight delay because of the shutdown is all I'm saying. So be prepared. So anyway, so that's the big thing. In 17, there was a couple things. So when you're working on your taxes, itemization for medical, for example, it's been 10% for the last couple of years unless you're over the age of 65. In the new law, it dropped to 7.5. So for a few people that may have been able to get close to itemizing in the past, you might want to really check that out this year because, again, next year, everything changes and itemizing is going to be a lot harder.
Okay, all right. Now, the stuff, by the way, that, you know, the president talked about streamlining and what he's doing in terms of exemptions and all that, those types of things don't take effect until next tax year.
Correct. We're looking at 18, so filing year of 19.
Right. Basically. I just wanted people, because a lot of people thought, oh, is that happening now? And, you know, no.
And the mandate. Let me put this out there really quick, because a lot of people are like, well, the president canceled the mandate or this. The mandate doesn't go away for insurance. I'm talking about the insurance mandate until 19, which means your filing year of 20. So we have it in effect in 2018, and it was in effect for 2017. So it's still there, guys. So when you're doing your taxes, do not be surprised if you did not have health insurance to get hit with that penalty.
Get hit with that. By the way, so you said people can start e-filing now. I mean, I don't have my W-2s yet.
Yeah. Well, my office does that. No, all W-2s do not have to be out till Wednesday or the 31st. They have to be in the mail theoretically by that day. So it's too early for many. But
some may already have it. You're talking, who would be the ones maybe able to file today?
Small businesses that may have handed out 5 or 6 employees. Here's your W-2. You know, they use a software like QuickBooks or something. They can print them off in office, and so those people could run right down to H&R Block or someplace like that and do it. I can tell you, I've done 1 tax return so far.
I was going to ask. Well, so
One tax return.
most of your clients, that's funny, I was just about to ask you about that. You've just done one. You're obviously ready, but most of your clients don't file until the last second,
Well, like
right?
you said, most of my
if they owe money, they want to pay at the last second.
And they haven't gotten all their documentation. If you've got stocks and you've got rentals and you've got W-2s, most of those papers haven't actually come in, or the taxpayer hasn't had time to organize all of their deductions. So yes, I mean, if you only have a single W-2, go to irs.gov and click on free tax return. I mean, why pay anybody to do your taxes if you have one or two W-2s only?
Yeah, these days, because I just remember in the old days, now everything's online, the easy form.
Yes.
And that equivalent
Still
of that is
exists.
still there, right?
Yeah,
of course.
it still exists.
So if you're when I was in college or whatever, I just had one place and all I had was one W-2.
Exactly.
Okay, you can very easily just file
question.
yourself.
That is exact, and that's what you should do. I mean, you should even understand a little bit of the tax code, because as you get older, normally your taxes get more complicated. And at least if you understand, because when I hand you your taxes, my job's to prepare them to the information you gave me.
Right.
Your job is to review them. If you don't understand any numbers on that return before you sign it, you need to be asking whoever prepared it for you, because when it comes down to it, you're the responsible member.
Yeah.
The IRS isn't coming against me, they're coming against you.
Sure.
So if you sign off on tax returns, because I have so many people walk in my office and they'll say, I didn't know that was on there, or I thought this was right, or the refunds seem high, but I don't know why. But yet you signed it. You didn't ask why. And now the government's coming back saying, hey, you did this wrong. Now you got penalties, interest, neglect. They have a new one called neglect. And they also have, if you understate your income, it's fraud. So, all these are additional penalties from making a simple mistake possibly.
Okay, and you make a great point. I mean, the buck stops with you, the person paying the taxes. The government doesn't care who did it for you. That's on you to decide. You hire someone you trust. Now, that being said, most reputable tax preparers like yourself come with a guarantee.
Absolutely.
Right,
if I make a mistake, I'm going to pay the penalty it costs for you to do it. You'll still pay your taxes no matter what that was due,
Oh, sure.
but the penalty would be my fault because I made the mistake, but not all. In fact, probably less and less it seems like, because we find mistakes all the time, and when you go back to the preparers, they don't follow up. Now, sometimes the mistake the preparer made was because information wasn't given to them. Well, that's not a mistake the preparer made then. It wasn't enough information. But yes, I think it's very important to make sure you're dealing with somebody that's going to back up their work. Okay,
there's folks like yourself come on this program and have the background and the reputation. There are reputable large companies that I tell the story of my crazy dad years and years ago, out of the back of some super saver, clipped off some deal where it was a discount, $10, I'll prepare your taxes. He got audited. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And he's just naive, doesn't think, but I mean, and they sure as heck didn't back it up, and he had to pay a penalty. It wasn't some huge thing because we didn't have a monster estate, but I mean,
any penalty costs you money, and it
time
hurts.
And frustration.
And that's in his time to go through an audit, and you want someone that's going to at least back up or support, even if I will say if you get audited or one of my clients get audited, whatever, and they hire me to do it. Yes, there's a cost for me to represent, but if it's something that's a paper audit and I've handled that tax return, I respond without a cost.
Okay.
Because at least then I know it's been responded quickly.
Yeah, and and you'll see.
There's hopefully an end to that whole conversation, and then we can deal with it better.
So one way to know if someone's reputable, what's the certificate about there?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Right now, January 29th through February 2nd is the Enrolled Agent Week. It's a proclamation that the governor signed for us, which is basically just an awareness. Everyone's like, who's an enrolled agent? Why is she talking about it? Because it's kind of something that it's been around since the 1940s. It's the IRS will license us as enrolled agents to do representation and taxation.
Now, does everyone who does taxes have to be enrolled, or is this something where it's a standard? How do you become enrolled?
This is a certain course, a certain testing system that you go through the IRS to get this enrollment.
So would you suggest inquiring when you're looking to find a tax preparer, asking, are you enrolled?
Absolutely. An enrolled agent, a CPA that specializes in taxation are who you really want to be dealing with. Okay. All right. And that's one way. That's one way. And of course, a lot of people go with referrals, people they met, and the cost of having your tax preparers, it varies. I could ask you, what does it cost? Well, you can't really tell me that. It depends on the size of the state and the amount of work that goes into it. Absolutely. If someone came to you with an easy and one form, aside from you saying, now do it yourself, you'd probably charge them $5 because it's so easy, right? Or whatever. Right? Well, see, most of us have minimums. To be honest, if you come in with one W-2 or you come in with 5 and a Schedule A, I'm going to charge you a minimum of $125 because I don't open a tax return for less than $125. So I'm just saying, where you could go online for 55 or 40. I don't know if any of them are really free nowadays, but if they are free, for free, do that tax return.
There you go. Okay. A lot of stuff available too. Well, can you go on to irs.gov and just do your own right there if it's real basic?
They have like a PDF where you can just type it all in and then send it.
Yeah, and that doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. And there are other ones out there that offer free ones.
Yeah. The big thing with me was, and you're right, as you age, there are other tax things that complicate it. And my big thing is, I think I could figure it out, but I just worry that I'm going to miss something or, just whatever. And so it's worth it to me to pay to have someone prepare my taxes only because I'm afraid I'll make a stupid mistake.
Well, that's the reason you want two sets of eyes on it. You want the preparer that does it every day. You want your own eyes on it, and therefore you hope that everything is going to come out much better than one person that goes through a questionnaire on a tax software that sometimes you're making educated guesses. Did I answer that question correctly? Because it's confusing sometimes on how they ask those questions, and that's how people end up in my office usually, because the IRS sent them love letters.
All right, Doc, we're going to take, love letters. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll take some phone calls, 737-7587. If you're on hold, stay there. If you have a question right now, you're dealing with your taxes, or you're thinking about something that maybe you can claim or can't claim, or any of those, look, give it a shot. See if you can stump her. Can't be done. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more of your questions and more just a general overview of what to expect this tax season right after this.